Once upon a time, in a peaceful village nestled at the edge of a vast and ancient forest, there lived a cheerful young girl who was loved by everyone who knew her. Her grandmother adored her most of all, and had sewn for her a beautiful cloak made of soft, deep red fabric with a hood that framed her bright face. The little girl wore it everywhere she went, and soon people stopped calling her by her name, and simply called her Little Red Riding Hood. One crisp spring morning, Red Riding Hood's mother packed a basket filled with warm bread, sweet berry jam, and a small jar of herbal tea. Grandmother had been feeling unwell, and a visit from her granddaughter was sure to lift her spirits. Before the girl set off, her mother crouched down beside her and gave her the usual warning: stay on the main path. Do not wander into the deeper woods, and don't speak to strangers. The forest can be unpredictable. Red Riding Hood nodded earnestly and promised to obey. As she walked along the sun-dappled path, she admired the wildflowers and listened to the cheerful songs of the birds overhead. The forest was calm that morning, but hidden among the shadows was someone watching her. A tall, cunning wolf, known for his sly tricks, stepped out from behind a tree with a smooth, friendly grin. "Good morning, little girl," the wolf said. "Where are you walking on such a fine day?" For a moment, Red Riding Hood remembered her mother's warning. But the wolf's voice sounded polite, almost gentle. Thinking no harm of him, she replied, "I'm going to visit my grandmother, who lives in the cottage on the far side of the forest." The wolf's eyes gleamed with wicked cleverness. What a delightful surprise that will be for her. But tell me, why rush? Look at all these beautiful flowers. Wouldn't your grandmother love a lovely bouquet? Red Riding Hood looked at the colorful petals glowing in the light. She hesitated. "Just a few," she said, stepping off the path. The wolf bowed his head and backed away. "You take your time," he said. Then he slunk off silently into the trees, his mind spinning with a plan. He hurried through the forest by a secret path only wild creatures knew. In no time at all, he reached Grandmother's cottage. With a voice that mimicked Red Riding Hood's perfectly, he knocked on the door. "Come in, dear," Grandmother called weakly. The wolf wasted no time. In a flash, he leapt inside, tricked the grandmother, and hid her away safely in a closet. Then he disguised himself by putting on her nightgown and bonnet. He climbed into her bed, pulling the covers up to his chin just as Red Riding Hood arrived. When the girl entered the cottage, something felt terribly wrong. The air was still, and the room smelled like pine and damp fir instead of her grandmother's usual lavender scent. She approached the bed slowly. "Grandmother, what big eyes you have," she said, unsure. "The better to see you with, my dear," the wolf croaked. "Grandmother, what big ears you have. The better to hear you with. And grandmother, what big teeth you have." The wolf threw off the covers and roared, "The better to eat you with." Red Riding Hood screamed and darted toward the door just as a woodsman, who had been chopping logs nearby, burst into the cottage. He chased the wolf away and freed the grandmother from the closet. Both were shaken but unharmed. Red Riding Hood rushed into her grandmother's arms. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "I should have listened." Her grandmother smiled kindly and brushed her hair back. "You're safe now, my dear. That's what matters." From that day on, Red Riding Hood never strayed from the path again, and she never spoke to strangers in the forest, no matter how polite they sounded. And so, with lessons learned, the girl, her mother, her grandmother, and even the woodsman lived peacefully ever after.